Everyone. I'm excited to be here tonight. You are on the webinar with me, Kate Clifford, and special guest and my friend Mary Crimmins,
Hey guys.
cultivating a healthy sex life with essential oils. I'm excited that we get to be here and go over this. We'll wait a couple minutes if anyone else is joining us live. Just so you know, there is a little chat bar on the right side of the screen. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in there. The lovely Mary will be responding to those as we go along.
I will do my best.
I'm so excited for this. It's a fun topic for me, and I think Mary feels pretty similarly that we should talk about this a little bit more often.
I mean, who doesn't want to talk about sex?
Especially anonymously.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say a big welcome to those of you that are hopping on. Welcome to Jill and Kimberly, Erin, Jamie, Beverly, Patricia, Terry, and Tiffany, and another Tiffany. We're so glad to have you guys tonight.
Yay! I will just go ahead and get started then. So tonight, I'm really excited for it. It's going to be a good night. We're talking about the benefits of sex, physical and emotional, and we're getting into some essential oil knowledge as well. Again, my friend Mary Crimmins is our special guest, and I'm so glad that she's able to be here with us and share her knowledge. We're pretty lucky. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Kate Clifford. I am a wellness advocate, and I started using essential oils for my daughter because I wanted a natural, safe, effective, and affordable way just to be able to care for her. I was pretty neurotic about anything that I would give her when she was a baby. Like even baby Tylenol turned me off just for the sugar content alone. So very quickly, after using essential oils for her, my husband and I got hooked. We saw some pretty amazing benefits for ourselves as well, both physical and emotional. And that's when I realized really what a really awesome gift that we had in our hands. And so that's when I wanted to start sharing them. I wanted to be educated on how to care for my family. I wanted to be empowered to do that. I wanted a whole new lifestyle revolution of natural and really preventative healthcare. So, I just realized how trained we are in Western medicine just to treat symptoms without ever looking at the root. And that was something that was really appealing to me. So that was kind of my journey into how you find me here tonight. But enough about me. I just wanted to take a minute to say, thanks for being here, but also if you just want to take some deep breaths or whatever it is that you do to center yourself, there's a reason why that you're here tonight. So, what brought you here? What interests you in this topic? Where are you at? I know that we're all in different places or maybe really similar places in regards to our sex life, but there's a reason that you're here. And so I know I often jump onto webinars or have them on in the background while dinner's being prepped, so that's okay if that's where I find you, but I think this topic is really important, and I think it's one that we don't get to talk about enough, even with ourselves. So if you can, treat yourself to some you time. Because really, like Mary said, what's more fun to talk about than sex? And if you can think about a lot of things that are more fun, then I'm really glad that you're here. But really, who does have the perfect sex life? I haven't ever heard anyone say, we've perfected it. We've arrived. I don't need or I don't want to try anything else. And if there are those people out there, please introduce me. I have a lot of questions. And I'm not coming from the place of assuming that everyone here, everyone listening has a bad sex life, but for most people I know, they're not quite fully satisfied. And that could be something going on within your own body, or it could be something about the connection between you and your partner. And for the rest of everyone else that I know, I actually have no idea, because sex just happens to be one of those topics that as Americans, we don't really touch. So something interesting that I found is that 15 to 20% of couples have sex no more than 10 times a year. And beyond that, 20 to 30% of men and 30 to 50% of women say they have little or no sex drive. So I think that that's pretty staggering. after reading that, I actually decided to ask this question on a couple different forums and community groups that I'm a part of on Facebook and other social networking. I said, what are our reasons for not having more sex? And I got an overwhelming amount of responses. And so I wanted to share some of the most common ones with you. I'm going to go through these. So tired at the end of the night that we just crash instead of being intimate. Yep, I've been there. Schedule conflicts, sickness. With a family, someone is always sick. Inner feelings of not liking your appearance, taking its toll on your love life. Side effects from certain meds, hormones. Yep, me too. Big hormone imbalance. Every time we had sex, I was fixated on, would this be the time we got pregnant, that it lost any sense of fun and was so stressful. Self-image. When I'm feeling good, when I'm working out, staying organized, eating right, I am more motivated to get it on. Exhaustion from taking care of kids, crazy schedules, anger, resentment towards the other person because they don't feel they're measuring up to what was expected, not having time to be into each other. When I'm into it, he's on his own thing, and vice versa. His lack of emotional and practical involvement that very much equals foreplay to me. Depression. My partner doesn't want to as much as I do. It feels forced. I'm working on being better, but motherhood has taken a toll on my body in a way that I'm not sure I like me naked. Being needed by everyone else, kids, hubby, work, home, that when I have a moment of free time, the concept of giving something to yet another person just seems daunting. Being too tired. When the baby refuses to sleep in her bed. Irritated, pent-up anger. Taking care of the house and the kids all day long really wears me out. I have my hands full. Pain, negative past experiences, medication, boredom, it's the same ride over. Parenting is too stressful, hard to shift gears from mama to sexy lady, and then self-conscious and insecure about myself. So that might seem like a lot of responses, but it is actually a very small percentage compared to how many I got. And those ones were ones that were repeated over and over again. And I am so thankful for those collective responses, for those that were willing to share. I'm sure that we can all relate, especially us women, with at least one of those, if not many of them at some point in a relationship, right? And I think it's really interesting. I want to be really sensitive to all of those reasons because sometimes, we just find ourselves in a tricky season. But on the other hand, what will it take for us to pull ourselves out of it? Are we just waiting for things to change naturally? More and more I become a proponent of not just waiting around for things to change, but to be empowered to take my own well-being seriously and to make it a big priority. So as I read those responses, and having used a few of them myself, if you think about it, most of these responses are not really about sex at all. There are other obstacles in our lives, and this is really important. There are other stressors that we really need to pay attention to. So why is sex on the back burner? It's something that's so instinctual to our human experience. Why is something so powerful one of our best kept secrets? Or worse, why is something so powerful? Why does it have some kind of embarrassment or insecurity attached to it? If nothing else comes from this webinar, I just really want you to know that I believe that this part of relationship, and I believe that this part of our own personal sexuality is just as important as every other facet of ourselves. Anything that we invest into, our personal, emotional, spiritual, physical, financial well-being, because we're a whole person and all of those things are connected. Let alone the fact, that our highest sense of physical pleasure is also what leads to reproduction. It's pretty powerful stuff. So our sexuality, and not just the literal act of sex, but our sexuality as who we are, is just really powerful. So in this moment, our sexuality is either helping us or hindering us. And I want to repeat that no matter where I find you today, your sexuality is either benefiting you or it's holding you back. And so I hope that we can continue or begin to harness that power for our well-being. So I'm going to give you a little bit of Psychology 101, sorry. Many of you might be familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs or have touched on it at some point. But for those of you that aren't or need a refresher, Maslow's hierarchy of needs describes the stages of growth in humans and patterns that humans' motivations generally move through. So in short, you must begin at the basic stages before moving on. So from the bottom of the pyramid to the top. So if we're talking about sex, it's a physiological, basic human need. If we're talking about intimacy, it's 2 levels up, and it's essential to feel a sense of belonging and acceptance, and both are important. I bring this up to decipher between the two because, it's one thing to not be having very much sex in your relationship. It's another thing if you're having it regularly, but it doesn't feel very intimate, or you're struggling to feel connected to your partner. So physiological needs are the physical requirements for human survival. If these requirements aren't met, the human body cannot function properly and will ultimately fail. So physiological needs are thought to be, the most important. They should be met first. And of course, no one has died from not having sex, though, I know some people that would like to think they would, but it's not necessarily like water. But maintaining the physiological desire shapes the intensity of the human sexual instinct and overall quality of life. So, aside from the fun and pleasure of it, there are some really great health benefits. So, some that I want to share with you is that immediately before an orgasm, oxytocin levels surge to 5 times their normal level. And oxytocin releases endorphins and corticosteroids that alleviate arthritis, chronic back pain, migraines, and menstrual cramps. People who have sex 1 to 2 times a week have 30% higher levels of immunoglobulin, and that is an antibody that boosts your immune system. So, it makes you healthier. An increased frequency of sexual intercourse is correlated with a decrease in breast cancer. Men in their 20s can reduce their chance of prostate cancer by 1/3 by ejaculating more than 5 times a week. And men who orgasm more than twice a week have a 50% lower chance of mortality than those who do 1 time a month. And sex 3 or more times a week reduces men's risk of heart attack or stroke by 50%. There's also research that reveals that people who had sex at least once over 2 weeks were more able to manage stressful situations. Endorphins, oxytocin, or endorphins and oxytocin are both released during sex, and so these feel-good hormones activate pleasure centers in the brain that create feelings of intimacy and relaxation. Studies show that both men and women sleep better after sex. The relaxation hormone prolactin is released, which can help people to nod off more quickly. It's, the love hormone, oxytocin, released during orgasm also promotes sleep. And then in a study conducted, I think this one's really interesting, at a hospital in Scotland, a panel of judges viewed participants through a one-way mirror and guessed their ages. And those who were having sex with a steady partner 4 times a week on average were perceived to be 7 to 12 years younger than their actual age. And there's other studies that show that regular sex promotes the release of hormones including testosterone and estrogen that keep the body looking young and vital. Estrogen also is linked to promoting soft skin, shinier hair, brighter eyes because of the hormone, the DHEA. So I think those are really interesting. And side note, caveat, for those of you not in a committed relationship, I'm not saying, you should have sex as often as you can with as many people as you can, because excessive short-term relationships are correlated with other things that are harmful to your well-being. So I'm just putting that out there. But all those health benefits, taken into consideration, those are, I think, really awesome incentives, like if we're talking about natural preventative health care. So hopefully that's insightful for you. And some of you might be saying, if only it were that easy, right? Maybe it is. Hopefully it is. And if that's all you needed to hear, you're very welcome. But really, there's lots of reasons that our sex drive might be working against us, some physical and some emotional. Remember, everything is connected. And so I kind of want to go back to Maslow's hierarchy really quick. So we went into the physiological benefits, but like I said before, intimacy, not just sex, but connecting to your partner, falls within our need and desire to love and to belong. So deficiencies within this level of Maslow's hierarchy can impact the individual's ability to form and maintain emotionally significant relationships in general, such as friendship, intimacy, family relationships, and According to this, humans need to feel, a sense of belonging and acceptance socially. Obviously, we can all relate. We want to be known, we want to be loved, we want to be liked. And intimate partners obviously fall into that category. And so humans, they need to be loved and also to love, both sexually as well as non-sexually by others. And so many people become susceptible to loneliness, social anxiety, clinical depression in the absence of this love or belonging element. So the need for belonging may overcome the physiological and security needs depending on the strength of that connection, which I think is pretty powerful or has pretty big implications. So to talk to you more about the emotional connection is my friend Mary Crimmins. Mary is a blogger and a coach. She's also a Blue Diamond with doTERRA. She leads an emotional healing workshop and is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this topic. So I'm so glad that she's here joining us. I feel a little bit spoiled. And so again, welcome, Mary. I'm glad that you're here.
Thanks. I am so excited. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, cool. Man, that is fascinating information. I mean, just hearing the benefits alone to having consistent sex makes me want to rethink my sex life for nothing else than better looking skin and hair. No, but seriously, that is really interesting. And I was talking on the chat box here, and a lot of people I asked, okay, are you brave enough to answer the question, what's keeping you from a healthy sex life? And a lot of people were talking about low libido, being on medication, and I can really identify with that. Myself, I was on antidepressant medicine, anti-anxiety medication. I had endometriosis, so I was on pain medication and anti-nausea medicine. And talk about wiping out your libido. It absolutely did that for me, and I gained a lot of weight, and my hormones were all jacked up. And I was just so grateful when I came across the essential oils, and a good friend of mine told me, hey, you need to try these. I think they'd really help. And just balancing out my hormones alone with the essential oils and their supplements has been just, it affects every single part of your life. But I want to talk to you guys tonight about sort of the emotional benefits to a healthy sex life, and maybe kind of come up with some ways in which we can address those issues. So sexual experience and, your satisfaction are closely correlated with the overall quality of life. I mean, it increases your sense of well-being, your personal satisfaction. And Kate already talked about oxytocin, that cuddle hormone or the love hormone, but it's really known for reducing our stress levels in both men and in women, and making you feel better about yourself. I mean, I know that, the more often we have sex, the better I feel about myself. It's just, if nothing else, from that purely psychological point. But sex and intimacy have been linked, to one's self-esteem. A healthy sex life increases confidence. It is, able to lift your mood, and just that kind of lightheartedness. I mean, how many times have you had sex and you just started laughing because it was awkward, or it was just, didn't go as planned? That alone is good for the soul and good for the spirit. But, when it goes well and when it goes right, you feel more attractive. I know I start to flirt more with my husband, and it's just really that confidence, that cheerfulness will also make you more attractive to your partner. I mean, people can sense that about you, and it definitely that will lead to more sex. And interestingly enough, the more sex you have, the more sex you're going to get. It's like if you've gone through a dry spell before, it's like, oh, the thought of just having sex just seems extremely daunting. But when you start having sex again, even if it's a fake it till you make it situation, if you want to increase your sex life, then it kind of just leads to more sex and it gets easier. But sexual satisfaction is also associated with the stability of relationships. So consistent mutual sexual pleasure increases bonding within a relationship. I mean, it has been demonstrated that coupled partners have increased relationship satisfaction when they fulfill one another's sexual desires. And, as we all get older, we start to lose some of those hormones that we naturally produce when we're younger. So estrogen is one of those. When you have sex, you'll actually be increasing your levels of estrogen, which is really neat. And what this does is helps you keep stable emotionally. So sex really acts as a natural antidepressant because it releases all these hormones like serotonin, which is that happy hormone, oxytocin, which we talked about, which really deepens the feelings of attachment. And so both of those hormones alone will really help with depression. So when you're having sex, it actually it improves your relationship. The lack of sex in a relationship most often reveals a lack of intimacy. I mean, this can lead to everything from communication problems to attraction problems in a relationship. I mean, sexless marriage, there's a lot that's, tied to the intimacy here. So let's talk about the connections of emotions to essential oils. So sexuality to me it's really the unspoken spoke of that overall well-being wheel. So think about it. We really talk about being balanced emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and even financially. But, God forbid we talk about being balanced sexually. I mean, that is so important and really one of those key spokes to the overall wheel. So naturally, you're trucking down the road of life and you're going to be off kilter, you're going to be off balance if that sexuality piece is really missing. So like as Kate said at the beginning, your sexuality is really creating or holding you back from feeling fully alive. And for women, that place, our sexuality, is really in the center, of our creativity, of our power. And so when that is shut off, our desire for anything that makes us feel alive is really diminished. And when we open up that sexuality, it allows us to open up to so many different things of, getting excited about painting again, or starting a new project, or getting creative at work, or picking up a new hobby. It really is the key to a lot of other things that we're dealing with emotionally and mentally. So it's definitely a key that we need to focus on. So tonight I'm going to share a couple of my favorite oils for enhancing a healthy sex life. But before I do that, I want to explain how essential oils work within the body. And essential oils really affect the physical body in two main ways. Okay, so this is really interesting. This is something that I got to learn about as I started prepping for my emotional healing workshop. But everything in life has an emotional frequency. It has an energetic pulse that you can measure. So people, plants, water, we all have this measurable frequency. A healthy human body has a frequency of about 62 to 72 megahertz. So that's something that you can measure on machine, that picks up your wavelength, that energetic frequency. So when disease enters the body, even emotional disease like severe depression or feeling of not being connected, that frequency will actually drop. So essential oils have an incredible high frequency. For example, rose essential oil has a frequency of 320 megahertz. So if our own bodies are like 62 to 72, rose oil is 320. We've got lavender, it's about 118 megahertz. Myrrh, 108. Juniper berry is about around 98. And then sandalwood is around 96, so much, much higher. And first and foremost, I'll say, too, that essential oils will not do the emotional work for you. But what happens is the oils really begin to raise the vibration of the physical body. So the body always wants to come into balance. That's what is so beautiful about the body, is it always wants and always seeks balance. So as the body begins to exist in higher vibrations because of the essential oils, what happens is that lower level energies like suppressed emotions, depressions, anxiety, unspoken fears want to raise up to meet the higher vibration. So all of these feelings that we've buried deep for a long time end up kind of beginning to surface when we start using essential oils. These feelings want to release. So it's really, really powerful for our emotional healing. So, stagnant anger, sadness, whether that be grief or judgment, low self-worth, they really cannot exist in an environment of balance and peace. Like if you think about it, if you were truly at balance, you're not going to have those emotions. You may have them periodically, but when your hormones are in check, when your frequency is raised, those kinds of emotions can't exist in the body, and so we have to, release them. And essential oils really create the environment for the body to come back into balance, to promote balance, to promote peace. So it's really a powerful tool we can use for our emotional healing and tie that to our, healthy sex life. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit more, that's kind of the woo-woo part as I talk about it, but let's talk about more the physiological part of what happens when we use essential oils. So we're going to talk about the limbic system and the endocrine systems of the brain. So our brains, as you guys know, are the seat of all emotions. So our most powerful sense is our sense of smell. It's fascinating. We can differentiate between 10,000 different unique scents. 10,000. I mean, that is just crazy to me. But when we smell something, it is just amazing for triggering memory. And the reason for this is that it attaches itself to the receptor sites in our nose. So you can see that picture that you're looking at, that olfactory bulb, right? So let's say you're smelling an essential oil and all those little molecules attach themselves to the receptor sites of our nose, travels up through the nose, it enters the limbic system of our brain. The limbic system controls emotion, it controls mood, motivation, pain sensation, pleasure sensation, and then that has a response on our physical body, on our endocrine system. And the endocrine system, you may or may not already know this, but it maintains our hormones and chemical balance, so our whole central nervous system, our fight and flight response, our rest and digest response, and our cortisol reaction. So aroma is really the greatest influencer of mood. Essential oils, they work on a chemical level in the brain, balancing out those neurotransmitters and help us access the memories. Think about it. If you smell, I love this kind of analogy, you smell the cologne of an old, boyfriend or an old lover, and what does that do? It will immediately fire off a memory, and you either get butterflies, thinking, oh my God, that was such a great time, or you get that, pit in your stomach, oh, that was a really toxic relationship. But just that smell triggers that memory. So once again, essential oils are having an effect on our emotional well-being, not only because it's stimulating memory, but it's having an effect on all those neurotransmitters that are associated with hormone balance, our cortisol levels, our stress response, all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool when you start to work with essential oils because every oil has really unique chemical makeup that provide very different, therapeutic benefits. You can use oils for, anything from boosting your immunity to helping you get over a sickness to balancing out your hormones to working on emotional issues to, looking at promoting healing for an ear infection. They have a range of different therapeutic benefits, so they can be used for all different kinds of issues. But what's interesting is that, for example, oils have that have a high level of these sesquiterpenes, which is a specific chemical in the essential oils, help increase the amount of oxygen in the limbic system of the brain, so particularly around the pineal and pituitary glands. So this leads to an increase in secretions of antibodies, endorphins, and neurotransmitters. So lavender, for example, you may not know this, but lavender increases the effects of GABA in the brain. It causes a physical calming effect that modulates serotonergic activity with anxiety, similar to those of like SSRIs, like Valium. So lavender can have very similar effects on the brain as a drug like Valium. So remember that our sense of smell is incredibly powerful for accessing that limbic system of the brain, and thus can affect our libido and our hormones. So there's an aromatherapist, Dr. Aurora, that explains, he says, the essential oils do magic and stimulate the pituitary gland, the master of the endocrine gland, which controls hormone production. Inactiveness of the pituitary gland can lead to low sex drive. So the oils help keep it at an active state. So that is pretty incredible how they have an effect on our brains and thus our overall libido. Okay, so let's jump in and talk about, for a minute, the basics of what essential oils are. All right, so essential oils are extracts from plants. So they are distilled from the leaves, the roots, the barks, the stems, and they are 50 to 70 times more potent than herbs. So I like to call essential oils herbs on crack. 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equal to 28 cups of peppermint tea. I'm going to say that again. 1 drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to 28 cups of tea. So we're talking powerful, powerful stuff to help, aid in our, creating a healthy sex life. And then we're going to talk a little bit about, why we should use essential oils versus, maybe a pharmaceutical, or, there's so many different kinds of, things out there, boost your libido, and most of them come on 800 numbers. But let's talk about why essential oils. So I sort of mentioned this before, but they are comprised of hundreds of natural compounds. So they're very complex, and they're not, synthetic. They are natural. They're found in nature, and so they can work synergistically in the body in a really powerful way, rather than, for example, pharmaceutical drugs, that are man-made, and they're usually one active ingredient. For example, like you look at any kind of back of the box of any kind of medication, it says active ingredient, right? And it will give you one active ingredient. So it does one job, whereas the oils do multiple different jobs and have hundreds of compounds. So what I love about this is that there are virtually no side effects and are really safe for the whole family. So oils treat the root cause of, health problems versus just masking your symptoms. So it's going in, it's creating the environment for healing to take place, for this class, bringing balance to those neurotransmitters, bringing balance to the hormones, rather than, covering up. And obviously we know a lot of side effects from drugs equals low libido. So no fun. All right, so then, the other thing that I love is just pennies per drop. They are really just affordable. When you're talking about using a drop here and a drop there versus going out and paying a copay with your insurance and buying a prescription, essential oils are not only a great low toxic way to go without side effects, but they're also cheaper. And let's talk about doTERRA. I'm assuming that most of you guys are familiar with this brand, or perhaps you're on this webinar and you're just think all essential oils are created equal. But I want to talk to you about why CPTG doTERRA essential oils. So CPTG stands for Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. So there, in the world of essential oils, there are no industry regulations or standards. So that meant that anything kind of went on the market. It's kind of like our food industry, where there's a lot of false labeling. It's like Lucky Charms saying it's a great source of whole grains, which we all know is false. But with essential oils, what is kind of been the accepted standard is that as long as a bottle has 10% essential oil in it, it can be labeled 100% pure, which is pretty crazy. So doTERRA did not think this was good enough. They created their own standard called Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade to make sure that their oils were truly 100% of that pure, potent oil. And what I love is that they source their plant material from where the plants grow indigenously. And that really is important, because no other companies really do that. And the reason this is so important is, think about wine. So when you're talking about wine, and let's say we grow it in California, and then you get a bottle from Italy, because of the climate, because of the soil, the altitude, all those kinds of issues, that wine is going to be a lot different. The taste is going to be different, the color is going to be different, the bouquet, the smell is going to be different. And so same goes with essential oils. Depending on where it's grown, the soil, altitude, when it was harvested, all those kinds of issues, you're going to get different therapeutic benefits. So doTERRA sources most of their oils where they grow indigenously, so that we can get the highest therapeutic benefits from our oils. And we go through rigorous third-party testing to ensure there's no pesticides, chemicals, plant residue, nothing that could contaminate our oils, so they don't go bad, they don't expire, they don't cause rash on your skin, unless you're detoxing from candida, perhaps. But they're really, truly the purest out there on the market, and they're the largest essential company in the world. They're a fantastic, fantastic company. So doTERRA, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, has really revolutionized essential oils on the market today. All right, so let's get into how we use these essential oils. So there are three main ways to use our essential oils: aromatic, topical, and internal. So aromatic, we already talked about the power of aroma and what that does to our brains and our hormones and our endocrine system, but it really helps manage mood, depression, and anxiety. So just by smelling these oils alone, whether that be in a diffuser, really great for enhancing that sexual mood, and we'll talk about the specific oils in a minute, but a great way to use the oils for a healthy sex life would be diffusing them in the air. It also eliminates germs in the air. It will open up your airways, and just that aroma, kind of creates sexy atmosphere. It's like turn your music on, get your diffuser going, and you're already well on your way to setting the mood. Okay, the second way to use essential oils would be topical. So this is so cool. I mean, one drop of oil, because of their potency, can affect every single cell in the body. And the kind of default way to use the oils is to apply them to the bottoms of your feet. And why that is because the bottoms of your feet have the largest collection of pores. I will talk about in a little bit some reflexology points on your feet that you can use to enhance that sexual feeling. So the other thing about topical use is just kind of being obvious about it. Use the essential oils. Certainly when you're talking about enhancing the mood, putting me on the back, doing a beautiful massage, using some of the oils that are really gentle on the skin, for just a full body massage, mixed with some coconut oil, can be really beautiful at enhancing the experience. But, for all the other oils that you're using for just boosting your immunity and using every day, and for the little things like upset stomach and headaches, you just put the oils where you're experiencing the issues, applying to the head, the feet, the ears, the chest, the back, and just kind of going from there. Then the third way to use essential oils is going to be internal. And this is specific to doTERRA, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade Essential Oils. So you do not want to take any essential oils out on the market internally, because you just do not know what's in them. You've got all kinds of contaminants. Even if the bottle says 100% pure, there's just no way that you can be sure. So only use oils internally if they are from doTERRA and if they have on the bottle a supplement facts guide. But you can take these in a veggie capsule under your tongue, on the roof of your mouth, or in water. Like I love using some citrus oil in my water, not only to promote detox of my liver and flushing out the toxins out of my body, but also enhancing mood. And this is going to be great for people who are experiencing depression. Using something like wild orange or lemon in your water is fantastic for that, and that can really, translate over to your sex life. And so using oils internally is especially helpful for digestive, oral, liver, immune, and urogenital issues. Okay, so let's get into some of the essential oils, and we're going to talk about sort of my top essential oils for promoting and enhancing a healthy sex life. Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is ylang ylang. So this is a funny name, but ylang ylang has been traditionally used as an aphrodisiac and is really great for both you and your partner. It's known as the oil of the inner child, so it's great for attachment issues and really a power emotional oil for that. It's interesting, it was used, if you think about jasmine. Jasmine is just this, very sweet and has this really sweet and floral scent. And in India, what they used to do is they would take the jasmine flower, which is very, very similar to ylang ylang, and they would put it on the bed of newlyweds. So the couple would get married, and then their whole, marital bed would be lined with just tons of jasmine flowers. So it's really historically kind of been known for being used in the bedroom. And ylang ylang has a really calming effect on the body. It's just super kind of, it's like the chill oil. I mean, you use it, smells super nice, and it's great for calming the heart and really can help to relieve that occasional sexual anxiety that we feel time to time. So emotionally, it fosters a feeling of love, security, and serenity. And this oil is really said to boost the libido and help you get in the mood. So they say, like, if you could choose one oil for your sex life, ylang ylang would be it. This is a great one to diffuse. This is a great one to apply topically to the wrists, and I'll give you a couple little fun recipes here in a minute. All right, the second oil I'm going to talk about is going to be clary sage. So clary sage is often described as euphoric. It is traditionally used to promote hormonal balance within the body. And when your hormones are out of whack, I mean, you're definitely going to experience low libido. I mean, whether that's, for me, I know that was endometriosis, whether it's your thyroid is off, but chances are, if you are experiencing low libido, if it's not a side effect of your medication, your hormones are off balance. So this oil is really great for bringing your body back into hormonal balance. But it also helps just become really relaxed and has a lot of sedative properties to it. So it's also great for sleep as well. It just helps to relax you. And it can really release that tension and stress of the day and, sort of ease you into a more sensual state. So I like to apply clary sage to the bottoms of my feet and forearms daily. So like 1 to 2 drops. So this is one that, some of these oils are going to help right away, and some of these oils you're going to want to take consistently and persistently to, bring your body back into balance. So clary sage as one of the oils that you're going to want to take consistently. It takes time for your hormones to come back into balance. So this is one you're going to want to use for a little while. Okay, let's talk about one of doTERRA's blends called Whisper. Excuse me. So Whisper is actually known emotionally as the oil of femininity. So this is a blend for women, and this is a blend of patchouli, bergamot, sandalwood, and then it has some absolutes in it as well. So along with the pure essential oils, it has some absolutes. So this is kind of like a perfume. So it's got rose absolute, jasmine absolute, cistus absolute, and vanilla bean absolute, cocoa bean absolute, and then it's got cinnamon oil, vetiver, and ylang ylang. So if you know anything about essential oils, just by hearing those oils and absolutes, this is a powerhouse blend. I just love the way this smells, and it's one that really blends with your own unique smell and your own unique scent, so it smells different on everybody. I love to apply this to my wrists. But this is, one that really instills confidence and joy and peace. It is great for elevating emotions and helping to reduce stress and kind of occasional anxiety. This one is also great for balancing out our hormones as well. Clary sage and Whisper were the 2 I used for endometriosis. But again, bringing those hormones back into balance will affect your sex drive. And the fact that men tend to be really attracted to the smell, actually. And I mix it with bergamot, which I will talk about in a minute. But I would definitely say apply this to the bones on the back of your ear, as well as your wrists, and even your heart. I like to wear this every day, so I'll just put it up on my heart, and I can usually smell it throughout the day. Okay, let's talk about the next oil, cinnamon bark. Okay, cinnamon bark, you guys, is, if you smell this oil, this is a sexy oil, I have to say. Like, I love cinnamon, and it is emotionally known as the oil for sexual harmony. So this is really good for addressing any kind of previous abuse or sexual addiction, as well as just kind of balancing out your just overall kind of just sexual drive or whatever. So cinnamon obviously smells divine, and it's a really powerful brain tonic. So it's long been known to enhance energy and to reduce fatigue. So it's great for using even every day. But let me read you a little excerpt from this book that I love called Emotions and Essential Oils. It says, cinnamon strongly supports the reproductive system and helps with sexual issues. It assists individuals in accepting their body and embracing their physical attractiveness. It nurtures healthy sexuality. It rekindles sexual energies when there has been repression, trauma, or abuse. It can also bring clarity to souls who struggle with their sexual identity. So it really is great for working on sort of that self-acceptance and nurtures that healthy sexuality. One thing to note, this is a very hot oil, so you absolutely want to dilute this oil 50% to a carrier oil like coconut. So this is not one that you want to apply straight to the skin. It will burn. It's really spicy. It's really hot. So get a carrier oil, whether that be coconut oil, jojoba oil, even olive oil before, mix it with that before you put it on the skin. But I love this mixed with, I talked about bergamot earlier, wild orange, frankincense, and you can apply this to your big toe and your ankle, and we'll talk about that, but which are the reflexology points for your libido. Okay, let's jump over and talk about bergamot. This is one of my favorite citrus oils. All citrus oils are known to be very uplifting, but bergamot is actually really relaxing, and it's known as the oil of self-acceptance. So if one of your issues that's coming up is not accepting your body, not feeling safe, and who you are, bergamot would be a really lovely oil to begin using. Diffusing that would be great, or mixing it with Whisper, like I mentioned before. But it just has this beautiful, fresh, fruity, kind of floral aroma, but it is known to smooth the flow of energy. So it kind of encourages the release of pent-up emotions, feelings that can lead not only to depression and anxiety, but often, mood swings. So it helps, in addition, to redirect nervous energy away from unproductive and addictive behavior, helping us to rediscover spontaneity and optimism. So it really helps us to relax and let go. So that is something we definitely want to introduce into the bedroom. All right, next oil we're going to talk about for a healthy sex life is going to be patchouli. So patchouli is, I just kind of laugh at this because if you were, grew up in the 70s, people have a really love or hate relationship with patchouli. But doTERRA's patchouli does not smell like hippie patchouli. I can promise you that. It smells really, really nice, especially when you mix it with other things. It's a really beautiful kind of deep aroma. But psychologically, patchouli works through harmonizing, grounding, and stabilizing the mind when we're overthinking and worrying. So if you're, I know for me, one of my issues that I had with sex was like, we're not having it enough, it should be better than this, what's going on? And I would just kind of go into a panic. And so this is good for sort of just chilling that out and helping to ground you. But this one is also great because it produces an aphrodisiac effect. It's also very antidepressive. So it's great for uplifting the mind and calming the body. And it's kind of known to gladden the spirit and inspire. So it reawakens the fertile imagination and uplifts creativity. So I love this one just because it's great for depression, anxiety, and really enhances that overall joy that people feel, whether that be in the bedroom or just in life. Helps to work on stress and stress-related conditions. So, when it's used properly, it replaces fear with confidence, which is awesome, and indecision with motivation, and indifference with compassion. So this is a really, really beautiful one for a healthy sex life. We're going to cover two more essential oils real quick. The first being sandalwood. So sandalwood is a really lovely, lovely oil. It is, the whole purpose is to really bring us back to our essential self. The more immediate awareness of appreciating life. Just cultivates a really strong awareness. It's really great for meditation also. But whenever we overinvest in seeing specific outcomes in our sex life, we have this need for security. Sandalwood is really great at reestablishing an acceptance of a reality the way that it is. So, all of us come with a lot of expectations to the bedroom, and sandalwood just sort of helps us come into the present moment, accept it for what it is, and then really enhances that communication so that we can begin to talk about how we would want to improve our sex life. But it soothes aggression, it soothes irritability, and it releases that fear or nervousness kind of associated with anything, but especially with sex. And so it's great for just relaxing and even a good night's sleep. So this is a great one, again, to diffuse or to apply topically. Okay, the last oil that we're going to talk about is grapefruit. Oh my gosh, y'all, I seriously love grapefruit. It is delicious. I love to use it in my water. It's also known as an appetite suppressant, so that is just a little side benefit for you, but it's really refreshing. It's very reviving, and it helps to alleviate stress, depression, nervous exhaustion, and tension. Again, all these citrus oils are so great for bringing up that mood. So like bergamot, it lifts the spirit, especially this time in the winter, and it's excellent blended into massage oils, bath oils, and it's great for exhaustion and just that feeling of, being tired and I don't have enough time, this is really a good oil for self-esteem and optimism. So grapefruit is definitely one that I really honestly enjoy using it in my water, but I also love to diffuse it. Mix it with a couple of these other oils and it would be fantastic. Okay, so now I want to just give you guys a couple delicious and sensual love potions. So these are some of my favorite little mixes that you may want to take a screenshot of, because you'll definitely want to incorporate these with the essential oils that you're going to be getting for a healthy sex life. So a romantic bath for one or for two would be 1 drop of ylang ylang. Remember, that's the aphrodisiac. 3 drops of patchouli. 1 drop of geranium. Geranium is really lovely. It kind of smells like rose. And 2 drops of clary sage. So add those to maybe 2 cups of Epsom salts and enjoy. We've got the aphrodisiac diffuser. So a diffuser, you guys, is a little machine that you put water in and then you add the essential oils to it, and it disperses a mist of both water and essential oils, and so that you can really breathe in those particles and molecules so that, again, it travels up the nose and goes into the limbic system. So diffuser is a really fantastic thing to get, and doTERRA, of course, has some great diffusers. But here's a little blend that you can put in your diffuser to set the mood. So 1 drop of grapefruit, 2 drops of clary sage, and 3 drops of juniper berry, or frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and cinnamon bark. So again, I have to say I love cinnamon bark, so I would probably do the second one. It would smell really nice. Okay, so I mentioned, applying the oils topically, using them during your massage, and this is a great kind of foreplay blend that you can use. So 10 drops of cedarwood, 20 drops of clary sage, 20 drops of ylang ylang, 8 drops of patchouli, and blend that with 2 ounces of fractionated coconut oil or just regular coconut oil. So this is one that you just make up ahead of time. So you've kind of got 2 ounces ready to go, and you can use that, throughout the week, throughout the month, and really, again, it's not only going to feel great, it's going to relax you. Like if you've ever gotten a massage with essential oils, it puts you in a totally different state, so I highly recommend that. And then this is kind of a fun one. So sensual linen mist. So this is one, again, if you're just trying to get the mood going, Valentine's Day is coming up, but just really any night of the whole week, this will spice it up. And this is going to be put in a little spray bottle, so ideally a glass spray bottle, and you're going to spritz it onto your sheets. Don't worry, it's not going to mess with your sheets. It won't stain them, so this is a really great one to use. But 10 drops of sandalwood, 6 drops ylang ylang, and 17 drops of bergamot. This is probably one of my absolute favorite blends. It smells divine. This is another good one you can put in the diffuser. And last, we have the Sexuality Massage Blend, just kind of as another option from the Loving Massage Blend, and just kind of play with it. Find what's right, find which ones you like, which ones your partner likes. But again, in the 2 ounces of coconut oil, clary sage, sandalwood, ylang ylang, coriander, patchouli, ginger, basil, vetiver. So go for that, mix it all together ahead of time, and massage your partner, vice versa, and enjoy. All right, and then the last little slide we're going to talk about is where to put the oils on your feet. So nerve manipulation through massage technique triggers reflective areas in a manner that promotes health improvement. So if you want to promote your love life and get those hormones going, your big toe and your ankles. So a great option would be cinnamon bark and grapefruit. Remember that you're going to want to dilute that cinnamon bark, so a little bit of coconut oil there. But you can use clary sage, that ylang ylang, bergamot, whisper, whatever you want, even some of those recipes for the massage. Just have your partner massage those areas. Even if you want to do that a couple hours before your partner gets home, this would be a great idea to do. Do it every night to really enhance and balance out your sexual drive. All right, so I hope that was some good information on oils. And Kate, I will hand it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was wonderful. Obviously, all of you tuning in know why I wanted Mary to speak on this stuff. She is a expert, maybe a sexpert in this case, and I just love learning from her and all that she has to share about. So thank you so much. So why essential oils? Obviously there are plenty of things that we could have talked about in relationship to sex and intimacy, but really when I look at this list, of all of our objections to having more sex, it's just exhausting. I've been in the place where hormones or exhaustion or a new role feels so out of my control. And that's really why I love essential oils. It's so important for me to start taking care of me. It's so important to start taking care of you. It's really something that you need to prioritize for you. And most importantly, I'm really here to tell you that you actually, you deserve this. You deserve to have the sex life that you want. I timed this for Valentine's Day for, a focus to be on you and your partner, but truly, like, the greatest gift, Valentine's Day aside, that you could offer your partner, yourself especially, and everyone around you is really to invest into you. Who doesn't want less stress? Who doesn't want to feel better about themselves? I want that every day for myself, and honestly, like, I want that every day for you too. And there's really a way to do that, safely, naturally, and effectively. And that's why, we talk about I wanted to talk about essential oils in relationship to this issue. So are you ready, to ditch this list? And are you ready, to have a vibrant sex life? Are you ready to connect with your partner, to feel better, to have more energy, to want to have more sex, to be actually having more sex, and all of those things, that are vital to our sexuality and, kind of trigger, kind of like Mary talked about, so many other facets of our life. So maybe you thought essential oils were just for physical ailments, or maybe you thought that essential oils were just for us hippies and witch doctors, but after being here for a while, you can, hearing from Mary and I, you can see that we're pretty normal. And as someone who has dealt with hormone imbalance, I know that there's only so many words I can say, but I just want to tell you how much more powerful it is to be on this side of taking care of your wellness and, putting that into your own hands. So whatever it is that you're dealing with, know that there is an answer. There is something that you can do to change it and to kind of take that control back. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to be well. And this is such an important part of who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I fully believe that, and maybe you're in a rut, and maybe you've just been trying to bootstrap it or wait this season out, but you can really, I don't know, ask yourself this question: can you really go another month? Can you really go another week of just hoping for something to change? I definitely used to be like that, whatever will be, will be. But now, having had decided that enough was enough and I was willing to try anything, I don't only feel better, I feel really alive. And I can't tell you how many people that I've talked to that have said that exact phrase after getting started with essential oils and kind of dealing with some of those obstacles that, they're not just obstacles that we have towards sex, they're obstacles that we have towards so many other things that we do in life. And so this is a quote that I really have come to be fond of, and it resonates with me because it's more true day after day recently than it ever has been in my life before. But I have come to believe that taking care of myself is not self-indulgent. Caring for myself is an act of survival. If we have to be the best version of ourselves and keep ourselves healthy, if we're going to give to our partner, if we're going to give to our children, if we're going to give to our friends and our family, and if we're going to, be someone for those people to turn to, we really have to prioritize ourselves. And so for those of you that are ready to take control of your sex life, I do have a special offer for you. And these are some of the top oils that Mary touched on to spice up our sex lives. This is not a regular kit that is offered, but a personalized kit for this webinar. This kit includes ylang ylang, clary sage, whisper, cinnamon bark, and bergamot. These are all oils that I have come to love. My husband would also say that ylang ylang is his new favorite oil. I told him we had to do some case studies before this webinar since I was planning it for a little bit. And again, clary sage, hormonal balance, huge, huge, huge for me, especially after giving birth. And, the whisper, yes, smells beautifully. Cinnamon bark also smells beautifully, completely different way. It is a very sexy oil. Mary said she loves cinnamon and that's why she likes this. I'm actually not that fond of cinnamon, but this oil, it does do something for you. It is a very sexy oil. And then bergamot. Any citrus oil, wonderful. This one, yes, especially lovely. So all of that is $179.25 for some of the top oils that Mary touched on. But included in that, I just want to tell you everything that you will get in that price. So you will get 25% off a wholesale membership with doTERRA. And what that means is it's very similar to Costco. You get the wholesale prices, which 25% off. You can reorder whenever you want. There's no mandatory monthly order. In addition to that membership, you will also get a free oil consult with me. And this is a personalized, meeting over the phone, Skype, however you prefer to communicate. But this will really be something that goes into more of anything that you are dealing with. Obviously, this is a general webinar, and we touched on oils. That would be great for this, but there's so many other supports that you can get, for you, for your family, for life's little emergencies, anything like that. You'll get a personal mentorship so you know how to use these oils. There's lots of support. There's lots of essential oil groups that you can be a part of, so you're not out there alone trying to figure out how to use oils. There's definitely, maybe too much support than not enough. In addition, I'm just going to touch on this quickly. We can talk about it more in the personal wellness consult. This order would also qualify you for this awesome promotion that doTERRA is doing right now for February. If you are interested in making a March monthly order in addition to any of these oils for any other ailments, doTERRA is going to give you $100 to use towards free oils. So I don't want to get into that, but definitely something we can talk about during our wellness consult. And then lastly, I do want to include another oil for you for free, and that would be a grapefruit oil. Like Mary, I love grapefruit. I sometimes say it's my favorite citrus oil, but I probably say that about a lot of them. It is great for energy, and the smell is beautiful. Obviously naturally detoxifies like other citrus oils. I don't drink coffee, so it's especially why I like it in my water throughout the day. And I have been known to lace my vodka sodas when I'm out and about with a drop or two of grapefruit. So that's one of my favorite oils. Fits perfectly within this other mixture of oils in the kit for the sex and intimacy issues. And so I wanted to include that for you as well. So all of that for that original price of $179.25 plus all of these freebies. So this offer is going to run through Sunday. So you have until midnight to order. So make sure to order before then. And then in order to get started, you can visit my website, which is www.kateclifford.com/healthy sex life webinar. And this will give you step-by-step ordering instructions. You'll be able to scroll through and kind of get the play-by-play. I'll also have my offers back up there, and I will update that within the next 15 minutes with those freebies for you, so you can see how to order, make it really simple for you. In addition to that, please feel free to email me. My email is kateclifford@gmail.com. Ask me any questions. Obviously, you can email me. I have some open appointment slots tomorrow to chat by phone, but I really want to make sure that you get the support you need. If you just need help ordering, if you want to talk more specifics about certain ailments, please contact me. Don't hesitate. I'd love to be in communication with you and make sure you feel like you know what you're doing. And then lastly, this kind of wraps up everything, but again, big thank you to Mary, such good content. And then thank you listeners for being here. I really appreciate it. This is a topic that I want to keep talking about more. It's something that I'm really passionate about, especially us as women, that this is something not to be shameful of or hide or anything like that, but let's just talk about it and let's kind of figure this out. So thank you for taking, your health seriously, for trying to find ways to bring your body into balance and, bring your relationships into balance. I can't wait for you to get started. I really hope that you feel empowered. I really hope that, you're leaving tonight having some tools. So thank you again. Thank you, Mary, and have a great evening. And, hopefully you'll be able to spice things up soon. Talk to everyone soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.